Hello, welcome to Bored and Confused, where I review shows based on two criteria. One, was I bored? Two, was I confused? Today's show is Dead Outlaw, playing at the Longacre Theater. Now, a reminder to please like, comment, and subscribe. It really helps me grow this channel, and I'm able to see more shows and share my thoughts with you. All right, let's get into this new musical. So I was super excited for this show. I didn't know a lot about it, but I knew the music was written by David Yazbek, who I love. He's very talented. I love his work on Dirty Rotten Scoundrels and The Full Monty. And of course, more recently, he did The Band's Visit. And then he's also had some misses, but sometimes I think he was just taking the work for the money and not because he was really excited about. But this is a show that was his idea, so he's excited about writing this show. And going into it, I knew that it also won a bunch of awards off-Broadway, but I didn't get a chance to see it off-Broadway. It beat out Broadway shows for the Drama Desk Award and the New York Critics Award, as well as winning some of the off-Broadway Best Musical Awards. Some information I didn't know going in, but I since researched after I saw the show. This musical was created for Audible as part of a series of theater pieces that could be enjoyed not only on the stage, but audio only. And this is the first musical they commissioned. I also learned this was David Yazbek's idea. He collaborated with his bandmate Eric De La Pena on the music, and they wrote songs first, and then they invited book writer Itmar Moses and director David Cromer, who they'd worked with on The Band's Visit, and they got involved with the project. So I went into this show with very high expectations, and I should know better. It's better to go in with low expectations. Now, I'm not saying the show was bad. This is the kind of show that critics love, that musical theater competitions love, because it's a very unusual show. It is not traditional. It's about a strange subject matter, and it's written in a non-traditional way. And I'm more of a traditional guy. So let's talk about what is the show about. The show is about a true story, and they follow very closely to the truth with the story. There's moments a lot through the show where he goes, and this is true. And I read somewhere that it was like 95% of this is all true. So there was a man named Elmer McCurdy who led a troubled life and died at a young age. In 1911, he was shot after a failed bank robbery. And because he was estranged with his family, no one claimed the body. So the mortician injected it with a solution that would basically mummify the body, keep it fresh, or keep it from decomposing until someone could claim it. Well, what happened is no one claimed it. And so then that body went on a long journey, and it was not buried until 1977, 66 years later. Did I do the math right? The first half of the show follows Elmer's living body, and the second half of the show follows his dead body. And it's just 1 hour, 45 minutes, no intermission. I didn't know this was the structure of the show, so I was a little confused. When he got shot, I was like, oh, wow, that hour and 45 minutes flew by. I didn't realize that I had a whole second half of the show is following his dead body. And God bless Andrew Durand, who plays Elmer McCurdy, because he has to spend most of the second half of this musical being silent and standing still in a coffin like he is dead. So this is not a typical musical in that there is no boy gets girl, loses girl, gets girl story. There's really no love story. He does have a relationship with a woman, but he treats her badly, and it ends as soon as it starts. And there's no romantic arc there. There's not even really an emotional arc. I felt like it's a very cerebral kind of show. It's kind of a meditation on death. It's also touching with themes of the American dream and fame. It's very similar to Floyd Collins in not only the time period, but also these kind of themes of how someone's death becomes commercialized. So, was I bored? Was I confused? I was kind of bored during this show because I didn't care about Elmer. Elmer's a bad dude. He drinks and he gets violent, and he's a liar, and he constantly is changing his name. And it was hard to have sympathy for him. The first moment we see him, he's preparing to rob a train. He's an outlaw, but he's bad at it. I don't think he's ever successful. He tries robbing trains, he tries blowing up safes, he served in the army, so he learned how to work with explosives, but he's not good at any of it. And he just fails and fails and fails. This show could be done as a comedy because it's quite ridiculous. But I didn't find it that funny. I found it just kind of sad. And not only was I sad for him in his life, I was even more sad in his death. In fact, I cared more for him in his death because I felt like as bad of a guy he was, I mean, he really wasn't that bad of a guy because he attempted to commit these crimes, but he never succeeded. So his heart was in the wrong place, but poor guy. And I just felt that he didn't deserve this treatment of his body just being passed around for 60 years. So was I confused? Not really. The storytelling is actually quite clear in this musical. I just had the confusion of, I thought that we were going to do his life, but we're not doing his life. We're doing his death as well. And it is called Dead Outlaw, so that's on me. So let's talk about the music. Like Floyd Collins, the music is the best part here. And it's not surprising that the music was written first for this show. It's a blend of country, folk, bluegrass. There's some rock in there, there's some jazz in there, but it all really feels of a piece. It's really great. And you know, this came out of David Yazbek and his bandmate, so really you're feeling it's that kind of indie rock band kind of score. It also, it does feel like the book writer came in later because the songs work well with the scenes, but again, this is a narrative that it's just following the truth of his life interspersed with these songs. So there's not always a real rich connection between the two. It's not like the book leads up and then we have to sing our emotions. It's not traditional in that regard. It's very factual. You're telling us about this guy's life and what happened, and you're writing these interesting songs that are examining these different ideas of death and the American dream, which are well written. And the lyrics are good, but again, it's not musical theater lyric writing. It feels more like a rock band writing. Your mom is dead, your daddy's dead, and so are you. It's that kind of short phrase. There's not a lot of wit. There's not a lot of nuance to these songs. The songs are played by a 6-piece band, and they are rockin'. They are so good. And the main guy, the band leader, Jeb Brown, who also plays guitar, is really great in this. He really is a great narrator, and I love his energy, and he jumps in and plays different characters throughout the show. He really kind of grounds the whole proceeding. For the most part, none of these songs really stood out to me. They stood out to me for being good, but it's not Sondheim. These aren't the songs that you're going to see in a lot of cabarets that people are going to use for auditions, with the exception of maybe, I thought, one song for the love interest of Elmer that was over before it even began. She actually identifies the body, and she sings a song called We Were Always Strangers, where she talks about how she really never really knew the man. And that was a lovely moment in the show. Sung beautifully by Julia Nittl. The staging for the show is very minimal but effective. They do a really interesting thing at the beginning of the show. It's really dimly lit, and Elmer is lit, but his mother and his father come in and we can't see their faces. They're always in shadows. And I found it a very interesting choice. I'd be curious to know what the meaning was behind that. Was it because Elmer never really knew his parents? Or is it a device because these actors are playing so many different characters, they wanted to wait to show us their faces? I think it's probably the former. This show should win the Tony for sound design. I mean, it was made to be enjoyed audibly. So there's a soundscape throughout this. There's crickets, there's the sound of the night in the country, we hear trains, it's a whole audible experience. So this one's kind of a shoo-in for best sound design of a musical. And I really would love to hear this musical, just the audio only. I think that would be a very interesting experience. So if you are listening, if you're watching this video and you can't get to Broadway, listen to the Audible recording of this. That's what it was made for. Check it out and comment below and let me know if you liked it. And then after you listen to it, you can go, oh, I love that so much, I want to go see it performed live. And then you come to Broadway and you pay your $33, I think. You can actually, the rush tickets for this are pretty affordable right now. So go out and grab that. That's what I did. I was in the balcony and the sightlines were great. There's a little bandstand on the stage and they mainly move around the front of the stage. So it's all very downstage. So even though you're in the balcony, I was perfectly happy with my seats. I was just a few rows up. You do have to be careful in the Longacre Theater that there are partial view seats. There's these poles in the balcony. They're only this wide, but they're more annoying than they really obscure your view, because if they're in front of you, just move a little bit and you can see around them. It's just annoying to have to shift a lot, to dodge and weave. You know, another similarity I felt with the show was to Operation Mincemeat. Not in the style or anything, but the theme, this idea that someone's body, after they've lived an uneventful life, can go on and do great things, or just they become more famous in death than they did in life. Interesting themes that both of those shows are playing with this season on Broadway. This show also raised some interesting questions for me about, as human beings, how we view death, how we view a body. You know, we have these laws that say you have to be related to claim that body. And my question is, you know, after someone dies, what do we owe to that body? Do we owe that body a funeral? What is the line between curiosity and exploitation of a dead body? These are interesting thoughts, and I think they're tied up in religion and what we believe, the spirit of the human being, and if the body is created by God, and if it's sacred and it needs to be treated as a sacred thing. I think that's a big part of it, is how religion informs the body. It was a really interesting thing to ponder afterwards. Who should go see Dead Outlaw? If you're interested in David Yazbek, as I am, go see it for his amazing music. Also, if you like the idea of experimental, non-traditional musicals, playing with the form, trying new things, this show will be definitely up your alley. I think if you like Floyd Collins, you'll probably also like Dead Outlaw. So go check out Dead Outlaw at the Longacre Theater, and if you're not ready to commit to the show, listen to it on Audible first, and if you enjoy that, then come see it live.
Don't confuse me. If you do, then you'll lose me. Don't wanna drift away, wanna stay inside the play. Keep me engaged, keep me amused with what's in front of me.